สวัสดีครับสวัสดีครับมาบูไฮโอลาสวัสดีปีใหม่ครับแฟนๆทุกคนอันนี้โก้นะครับจากเพจ KP1 Worldwide นะครับวันนี้เป็นวันปีใหม่ก็ขอให้แฟนๆคนไทยนะครับมีความสุขมากๆนะครับคิดสิ่งใดหวังสิ่งใดก็ขอให้สมความปรารถนาในวันปีใหม่นี้นะครับวันนี้เราก็มาพบแขกสวยมากแขกสำคัญมากนะคะเป็น Miss Earth จาก New Mexico นะครับที่กำลังจะประกวด Miss Earth USA นะครับคุณ Llyhanee Robles นะครับก็เดี๋ยวเราจะมาคุยกับคุณ Llyhanee คุณ Llyhanee นี่พูดสเปนกับพูดอังกฤษนี่คล่องมากนะครับนะคะคราวนี้เนี่ยเดี๋ยวจะมารู้จักเธอกันนะครับ Hi all the fans how are you Happy New Year Thank you indeed for coming. I'm so glad indeed that after you been through a lot of celebration throughout the day, you still coming enjoy my show. Thank you indeed. And I won't let you down because tonight I got a very hermosa Reina from New Mexico. Miss Earth, New Mexico 2022. She's going to stay with me tonight, and we will go through a lot of issues. All right, and you will be amazed with her intelligence aside from her beauty. Okay, she has been there, done that, a lot of things. Okay, please welcome Llyhanee Robles, Miss New Mexico USA 2022. Hi, hello. ¿Cómo
Hi
está?
everyone. Hi everyone. First of all, I want to say Happy New Year's, Feliz Año Nuevo. I can't wait to meet you all and do this amazing interview with KP1 Worldwide. And let's get to it.
Okay, right. So I just mentioned that you actually speak friendly in Spanish. Might you call out and remind all my fans who actually been in Colombia and Mexico and also Brazil as well, and many parts in the world, especially some Filipino also converse in Spanish as well. So they probably would love to get touched by you with your Spanish.
Okay. Hola, soy Llyhanee Robles. Soy su Miss New Mexico Earth. Estoy bien agradecida de estar aquí en KP1 Worldwide para hacer esta entrevista para que ustedes me conozcan un poquito más.
Okay, right. Okay, so mind you translate a little bit. I would love to know what you're speaking.
I just said that, hi everyone, my name is Llyhanee Robles, Miss New Mexico Earth. I am very excited to be here and with this beautiful interviewer to be able to do and for you guys to get to know me a little bit more.
Okay, right. Thank you indeed. Okay, so get start. All the fans. Okay, I'm very glad indeed that she actually love to come as my first guest of the year
Oh,
2022.
I'm
Um,
honored.
Yep, I'm so honored indeed to have her. Okay, and you will in awe with her history and her advocacy because it's just amazing. Okay, fantastic, very fantastic. Okay, first of all, Lihani, so should I call you Lihani or would you like me to call something else in short?
Well, my nickname is Illy for I love you, so I just kind of stick with that. So if you want to
Ili,
call me Illy, yes,
Ili, is it? Okay.
yeah,
I may call you Ili, all right? Okay,
perfect.
thank you indeed. Hi, Ili. My name is Ko, okay? Host and admin and owner of the page KP1 Worldwide, Thai pageant page in based in Thailand. But actually, my fan base is international. It has been scattering around the world, but mainly focusing Asian. Okay, Philippines, Indonesia, South Asia, Bangladesh, India, sort of Malaysia as well. Okay, so you will know a lot of fans. Okay, right. So all the fans I would love to let you know that Ely actually has been through some pageantry before. She experienced, and now she's 27 years old. So I would allow Ely to tell herself a little bit what she has been doing before. Okay. So might you just tell a little bit of yourself to the fan, please?
Okay. So again, my name is Llyhanee Robles, your Miss New Mexico Earth. I am a fourth generation American. My family is Mexican from Latin America. They came to pursue the American dream and work in the fields to harvest fruits and vegetables. But through that, they were contaminated with toxins with our soil and also with pesticides, therefore getting us very sick. I myself was hospitalized from the day I was born
Mm,
to since I was 4 years old, and the doctor told him, if you do not move or change your lifestyle, your daughter's gonna die. Therefore, we moved to United States to El Paso, Texas, to be able to live my life and thrive in the United States.
mm. Right. So, what about pageantry? How did you become involving in pageantry? So when it start?
Okay, so this is actually a funny story. I was a model for over 6 years, and an agent come up to me and said, "You have a really bubbly personality. You're very funny. Just have you ever thought of pageantry?" And I kind of thought to myself, I don't think that's for me. Modeling's more for me. But the more I got to know what pageantry brings, it brings you confidence.
Mm,
It brings you a ability to speak to people about your story and help a lot of people.
mm,
And that kind of brought me into the pageant world. And at first, the tippy tops were really hard to to walk in the high platform heels, but I got used to it and I have so much fun with it.
right. Okay. And also, about your work, you still working as head model, is it? Head model instructor, is it?
Yes,
You're still working
yes, I'm still
at
working
this
in it.
position. All right. So you actually very good at in modeling then before you joining pageantry.
Yes,
Okay.
I at least I think I was a good model.
Okay. Right. So you actually a runway model or like a printing model.
I'm more of a printing model, but I have done runways.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite runways was with this designer. He actually from the Philippines, who had this beautiful gown, and he let me do my stuff out there, and it was really fun.
Right. Okay. Right. And also, so because you have been in both roles.
Mhm.
So just give fans a little bit of insights. How different between being model and being beauty queen, and especially about the walk.
Oh yes. The difference between me and a model is usually models are there to look pretty, to do their thing, But when it comes to pageantry, you have a louder voice. You're able to help people through your community service, through your platform.
Mm,
And that is why I love pageantry.
mm,
Also, with your walk, when you're doing model walk, your back has to be straightened, but you have to kind of lean back and
mm.
very, very confident, very strong facials, very fierce. But when it comes to pageantry, it's a lot more smiles, you have a lot more fun, it's a lot more bubbly, and that is my personality. Therefore, I love pageantry.
Mm, mm, right. And also, all the fans, Ely, also working as a laboratory research assistant at
Yes.
the University of Texas of El Paso. So, might you give some broad picture about your work? What have you dealing with daily?
Okay. I am a geological scientist and a lab assistant. Sorry, a lab research assistant. What we do in our lab is to find solutions to global warming and the problems that the world is facing today, such as plastic reduction, global warming, wildfires, and try to make changes to be able to help the world. I myself work with toxics in the soil. I worked with NASA with White Sand National Park, and we
Mm,
found that most of the sand there has a lot of toxins when it
mm,
comes to sulfur. due to people contaminated with plastics, but also in the olden times, they would throw atomic bombs in that area. So
Mm,
the contaminants are still there. And people
mm,
go there with their family and play around, but that can
mm,
actually affect them long term. And
mm,
that's why we're trying to find ways to eliminate that. And also, with my research, we found a way where we can plant in the most extreme of environments, such as
mm,
volcanoes,
mm,
ash, um, toxin soils,
mm,
even the beach, to be able to plant everywhere. Thus, this could end hunger, world hunger,
mm,
helping the world and also helping people. And I've
mm,
been very lucky to be part of that team in terraforming.
mm. Right. Okay. According to your actually your degree, when I first read, I you know I was intriguing, indeed, because it's all scientists. It's about scientific. So, is there something about your upbringing, about your experience with some environmental problem that inspire you to take the course in science in your degree?
Yes, I always loved the earth, but when I was hospitalized and I found out why I was being hospitalized because
Mm,
of all the toxins from my family, and I would even myself run around the fields when I
mm,
was younger, and that's why I got sick. So I didn't want anybody to go through the same experience I had to go through. And
mm,
I decided to become a scientist. Plus,
mm,
when I was in the hospital, I would see all the kids running around, having fun, and I couldn't go out there. So
mm,
I wanted everybody who's going through the same experience,
mm,
and so that I can give them a solution so they can never experience this for themselves or for their family.
mm. Right. So you mentioned about your observation of the area that you brought up with, because it's very close to NASA mission,
Mhm.
and it's about the waste. So what I think you might. I mean, for me, okay, I got some curiosity. Now you be the queen who actually advocate a lot about
Yes.
environmental problem, and also you have a scientific mind, which always seek for the greater good for humankind. Okay, so I would love to know how do you perceive about the waste from the NASA research or mission, which very toxic and is detrimental for residents, or actually for people for ages. It's not only 1 days, 1 years, 2 years. It can be decade and can be century. It
Yes.
still be there. So how you compromised both to extreme ends to to make to make them meet at the middle, like how to get all the toxic waste to be in control, under control, I mean safe enough for the resident or people in the area. Okay, so actually not in the area, I mean at least in the state. Okay, because I think the consequence, the ramification of the waste is has been very far. So as you're as you are a scientist now, so I would love to know your viewpoint. How would you propose some solution?
What we're trying to do when we're removing the toxins, for in layman's terms, we use isotopic measurements where
Mm,
we measure how much toxins there is.
mm,
From there, we use chemicals
mm,
to eliminate that as much as possible. For example, if we get this much, like a
mm,
liter of grain of sand,
mm,
and we try to remove all the toxins, half of it is toxins.
mm,
So it takes us a while to do it, but it
mm,
is possible if we
mm,
create more policies
mm,
or we fund more scientific journeys or
mm,
scientific people to be able to do that. I created a project called Pathways to Geosciences, where
mm,
we we sorry, we encourage students of low income to come and
mm,
join us to learn more about the sciences in
mm,
the environmental world.
mm,
Therefore, we can help them come to United States and study here
mm,
to be able to promote helping the world, but also start thinking outside the box.
mm,
Which I've been really grateful. There's a story of a girl from Oaxaca
mm,
that she was able to create her own filter
mm,
for the water,
mm,
and that helping not only her village but helping the villages around her. So we invited her, we
mm,
gave her the grant, and now she's studying here in the United States. And she's
mm,
promoting amazing ideas as a scientist, and I'm so happy to be part of her journey.
mm. Right. So, I mean, I never been there, okay, and also, I wasn't a scientist. So, I just feel that do we need to make such a sacrifice to be a human? I mean, yeah, we know that NASA contribute a lot for the Earth and for the world in the future, but actually we live in the present,
Yeah.
and also the future as well. And as a people, normal people, I just feel like we living on um, the receiving end. Mhm.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you can speak for the people or for the resident, so what kind of message that you would love to defend on behalf of a resident in terms of um, environmental problem that could cause health problem on a lot of people?
So I will always say make sure that your state has policies to protect not only the world but protecting the people who are helping the world as well. Such as my family, we came from very humble beginnings and
Mm,
we had to work in the fields for many, many years. Therefore, we need to protect them. They're the ones who are they're the first line, and they're the ones who always get hurt. That is why I want to tell the audience that every little change you make, even if it's the smallest change of like
mm,
lowering your tap water
mm,
or throwing your recycling in the
mm,
right place,
mm,
these can really make changes. You don't have to
mm,
be a NASA scientist to change
mm,
the world.
mm. Right. Okay. So, all the fans, I would love to bring up a little bit of her education, so you might understand what we're talking here. Okay. And based on her study, uh, she got two degree, both actually inspired by her childhood experience that she observed in the area, okay, about the waste which resulted from um, some kind of NASA mission, okay, and researching. So she got bachelor degree in geological chemistry, okay, and the second degree in anthropology with a minor in biology. Okay, and also she still got certification in quantum geographic information system software. Okay, the name is quite long. Might you explain a little bit what you study about?
I know everybody sees it like
What,
what?
some kind of quantum physics, Einstein, or
No, no, it's literally just programming. So what we're trying to do is like GPS. What we're trying to do is we work with GPS to be able to find better roads and better paths so that people can get to work, do their
Mm,
daily things without hitting the traffic or
mm,
and also we control the satellites to
mm,
look over geological
mm,
formations.
mm,
Therefore, we can map them a little bit better and find things that we have never seen before.
mm, mm. So, okay, I wonder. All right. So, is there something, okay, that influence about GPS navigation? Because I wonder, okay, sometimes the navigation system wouldn't lead you to where it should be.
Yes.
And sometimes I wonder, is there something about environmental problem that could could cause like diversion or confuse or confusion within like the navigation system, make it confused.
Yes.
They
Actually, thank
couldn't.
you for saying
I
that.
mean, they couldn't locate the right place as we as we register the information on the system.
Yes, actually, it's from the CO2 emissions that it goes in our ozone. Therefore, sometimes the satellite cannot go through,
Mm,
stopping a lot of things. Therefore, but that's why it's really hard when we were programming it, because sometimes it will be perfect, and then there was a huge layer of ozone, of air pollution in the air, which stopped us from finding a lot of things.
mm,
However, we're trying to figure out how to remove the CO2 to make it easier for us as well.
right. So actually, some environmental problem could influence,
Yes.
right? Could influence. I mean, the accuracy of navigation.
Yes,
Mm.
exactly.
Okay, exactly. All right. That's a good point that I made, okay? All the fans, we just realized that why we have to love the earth more, okay?
Exactly.
That's affect a lot of things, okay? Also, you have been, involving with a lot of community service, okay? And I would love to know about award that you've been granted by
Yes.
NASA and APO. What is all about? What
So
kind of
be,
contribution that you made as you being awarded the grant from NASA?
so basically, I started to kind of do research on the toxins due to my background.
Mm,
And once I started doing it more and more and more, I created my own paper.
mm,
Therefore, my professor sent it to somebody from NASA. And what's
mm,
really funny, he didn't tell me that he was sending it.
mm,
I was just like, "Oh, here's a paper. Hope you liked it." He loved it. He's like, "I'm gonna send it to some people." I'm like, "Okay." A few weeks later, I get a notification from NASA.
mm,
What is this? This must be a prank. And they told me, "We love your research,
mm,
and we want to work with you. Do you want to come and work with us?" And of
mm,
course, that's a lifetime dream of mine. So I
mm,
decided to pack my things,
mm,
move back to Texas, and continue my journey with NASA.
Okay, all right. So all the fans, Ely also graduated with honors degree. Okay, and she actually initiate an Earth-based a non-profit organization. So, what kind of purpose of your organization then?
Our purpose of our organization is called Pathways to Geosciences, where we involve low income students to learn about the different fields in environmental sciences and what
Mm,
they can do to become scientists and become
mm,
the forefronts to helping the world heal.
mm,
We also help them obtain grants and scholarships to
mm,
go to school free without thinking of shelter,
mm,
without thinking of going to
mm,
sleep without food,
mm,
and of course, having a safe environment where they can learn and
mm,
educate people as well.
mm. Mm, right. And also, might you give me some understanding about relationship between women and geoscience, and also environmentalism?
Yes. I want to encourage more women to become part of the geological sciences world.
Mm,
I graduated with only three other women in my field, while everybody else was men.
mm,
And we graduated of a team of 45 people,
mm,
and only
mm,
three of us were women.
mm,
And there's a really bad misconception about geology that it's old men, cracking rocks or
mm,
doing things like that. However, I, as a woman, love going outside. We take days of camping, which is so much fun for me. There's some
mm,
hard days, I'm not gonna lie. When I studied in Alaska, ooh,
mm,
I do not like the cold. Beautiful people, amazing place. I saw the Aurora Borealis, but it was too cold for me. But at the same time, it's very encouraging seeing other women in geosciences give you their journey, tell you how you can strive as a woman. Because
mm,
sometimes there are men
mm,
that think less of you because you're a woman and think that you don't know anything about the field.
mm,
Especially me being in pageantry, people downgrade me
mm,
and saying things like, "Oh, she got her degree because she's pretty," or "She didn't work hard." Believe me, there was
mm,
days that I did not sleep
mm,
because I wanted my research to be pushed.
mm,
And of course, I know understand that it's very discouraging to be in
mm,
that type of field, but I've been pushing myself and other women so they
mm,
can hear us and our voices will be louder.
mm, mm. Right. And personally, I would love to know, in your point of view nowadays, okay, if you going to handle some environmental problem under your jurisdiction. So, what is the first and foremost root cause of environmental problem that you would love to tackle first?
So first, it will be toxins in the earth,
Mm,
only due to everything comes from the earth.
mm,
Everything, from our minerals, from our phones to our makeup to our
mm,
clothes, everything comes from the earth.
mm,
That's why we have to start from the base.
mm,
We need to start working with our earth, with
mm,
the soil. Therefore, we
mm,
can start working with everything else.
mm,
Because even the CO2 emissions, where does it go? It doesn't go up. It starts to go
mm,
down, and it
mm,
goes into our top and into our soils. That is
mm,
why it's important for us to get rid of those soils because
mm,
it's contaminating the earth, but it's also contaminating people. Because a lot
mm,
of people think, "Oh, this fruit is so nice," blah, blah, and they bite it. That's why it's important to always wash your fruit before you eat it, because it can have residue of toxins and pesticides. Not all pesticides are bad, but most of them are.
mm,
It's important for us to push those pesticides that don't hurt anybody and it's healthy for the plant.
mm. Right. So, okay. So you might start with the earth first. I would love to know what kind of initiative that you would love to start with if you're concerned about the root cause and you already perceive that everything arises from the earth. So you should take care of the earth first. So how? How?
So first, we can eliminate our plastics. Do not throw it outside.
Mm,
Throw it into the right container or
mm,
use less plastics. I
mm,
myself live in a very low plastic household.
okay.
We use no plastic. It's really funny because I live with my parents
Mm,
and sometimes they bring like a bag with plastic and I'm like, no, never do that again. Here's another bag. Like I'm trying to help them understand what they can do.
mm,
But first is doing that. Second most is creating policies to protect the people. Even if
mm,
you write a letter to your legislators or Congress, they can start
mm,
making little changes because every little voice can become louder. It can become a community, and we
mm,
come together to make those changes.
mm. Okay, right. And what is now you live in Texas? Uh-huh. So I would love to know, even though you represent New Mexico, so where you living or from your experience, what would you like to highlight? I mean, what kind of problem, environmental problem, in your area or in your community that you would love to highlight to all
Okay.
the fans here?
Mhm. When I used to live in New Mexico, I felt the most important thing was that a lot of we have some agriculture, and a lot of people lived really close from it,
Mm,
right? So they can also get affected by the pesticides. Here in
mm,
Texas, what I noticed is that our sister city, Juarez,
mm.
living in a border city, they
Mm,
in Juarez, they don't have the same policies that we have when it comes to
mm,
protecting our world. Therefore, a
mm,
lot of the CO2 emissions are
mm,
transferred from Juarez to Texas. And sometimes we receive it and we have to
mm,
take more care of ourselves, like by wearing masks and doing all that stuff. But when I used to live in New Mexico, I loved it because the air was
mm,
a lot more cleaner, even though we did have problems with the soil.
mm.
But the area was a lot more cleaner. And actually, I will be moving back in 2 weeks to New Mexico because I love it so much. It's such a beautiful city, beautiful people. There's nothing wrong here in El Paso, but I miss my New Mexico.
Mm. Okay, right. And also, Ili, I'm wondering, would you ever imagine that the weight gap, the wealth gap, would somehow um, obstruct our campaigning or our raising awareness raising to the society or to the people in general?
Yes, I came from a very humble beginning. My parents moved from Mexico to the United States to live the American dream. Um, Therefore, they were contaminated by those pesticides. And a lot of people who are wealthier, they don't really care about the health, right?
Mm,
They don't really care for people like myself and my family. And
mm,
they said, oh, if they get sick, it's fine. I can just get another worker.
mm,
But that's not the right mentality, right? We
mm.
need to protect everybody, no matter how much money they have or how much wealth.
Yeah,
We need to
that's
protect
correct.
everybody.
Mm,
And I'm not saying that everybody who has a lot of money is like that. Not everybody is. But it's important for us to hear of those people, those
mm,
that have gone through a lot of hurts. They've
mm,
been not only prejudiced by their own state, but they're prejudiced in the United States as well.
mm,
However,
mm,
things are changing. Things are getting a lot better, and
mm,
through my journey,
mm,
there's a lot more people that had the same story, and I
mm,
am so honored to be part of that story, so I can help them have a voice.
mm. Okay, right. And also, you have actually helping homeless both in Texas and in Mexico. So, I mean, you have homeless, and we all know that they are categorized as the people in need.
Yes.
So once you're dealing with them, don't you ever think that I mean the way they're living is not that healthy anyway? And how come they would consider or actually aware of environmental problems surrounding them?
That's a really good question. When I used to go to Mexico
Mm,
and help the people over there, we will bring blankets, sanitary pads,
mm,
anything that will really help them. Especially
mm,
during the pandemic,
mm,
we went over there, and a lot of them were getting sick from COVID
mm,
because they were all stuck in a really small confinement, especially in the winter.
mm,
Um, and they were really cool. There was a story of this little boy. I'm never gonna forget him. His name was Paulo. He had a
mm,
he was like, "Can I have another blanket?" Like, yeah,
mm,
yeah, let's give you another blanket. And he grabbed the blanket and he went running to his mom and gave her the blanket because her leg was cut off due
mm,
to the violence that they used to live in Puerto Rico. Um,
mm,
and when I heard about them, I asked them like, "Is there anywhere I can help you?" And we found them a good home,
mm,
and they're safe now. Thank God.
mm,
But when it comes to environmental problems, they will see it everywhere around them. Coming from a
mm,
very poor community, they will tell me stories of how people would just throw trash everywhere. They wouldn't be concise with it. So we created a program where they also helped us, Paulo helped us, to
mm,
create a little bit of a science
mm,
lab with Ili and Paulo, where we're able to help educate people about the importance of science, but also about the importance of taking care of the earth. And it's really fun. I have a little bit of videos somewhere. I need to find them, but I'll post them soon because it's really fun educating kids, but also
Mm,
having somebody who has a very similar problem that I had when I was younger.
mm, mm. So other fans, she got so many things to offer indeed. I'm really amazed by her, contributions so far, and also about the education and about the kids. So have you been related according to your community service to the kids to the children in the school system?
Mhm. Actually, for 2 years now, I've been going all over the New Mexico and Texas to
Mm,
different schools, especially elementary schools. And we do
mm,
little projects like we created volcanoes so they can kind of find out how that happens. We planted a little bean where they see it grow and they put a bunch of nourishment and to the plants. And it's really, really fun having I love kids. They're such they have such a pure mind and
mm,
they really want to do things to change the world. And we
mm,
did a little project where
mm,
it was chat with Illy, where
mm,
I go with them everywhere around their school area, and we do a cleanup. They
mm,
clean up and they come up to me. It's really funny. They come up to say, "Guess what I found? Guess what I found?" I'm like, "What? I found some pants." You found pants? Yeah, they were on the floor. And I'm like, okay. Or some little girl will be like, oh, I found a baby doll. And I'm like, okay, so let's recycle that, or we can clean it up and give it to kids who are unfortunate as them. But it's really fun seeing them interacting, learning about science, but also learning about the beauty of the world and trying to help.
mm. So, you already experienced with kids directly. So, what do you think? These two, not a few, actually many, especially adults, who still undermine the power of youth. They try not to listen to the voice of the youth seriously. So, in terms of environmentalism, how would you help um, expand the voice of the youth, especially to help promote environmentalism?
So what first of all, it's very important for us to educate ourselves. However,
Mm,
if we educate the kids even more,
mm,
they're able to go home and tell the parents like, "Hey, let's not waste that much water. Let's not throw plastics away. Let's do a day where we have no technology. Technology
mm,
free. That one has been the hardest for my kiddos, but they're trying very hard to be technology free for at least one day. We promise each other, and they take the little video saying like, hey, teacher, I'm good. We are. I look at there's no technology, and I'm like, but then how are you calling me with your voice? He's like, oh, I'm so sorry, and then they try to hide it again. But they're so sweet. I love it. But first, it's educating the kids so they can educate the older generation. And of course, if the older generation want to, we can also facilitate them, but educate them.
mm, mm. So, don't you find that the young generation actually quite easily to absorb the new knowledge or the new things?
Yes, they're they're a sponge. Everything you tell them, they want to repeat it. They want to do it, and
Mm,
that's why I love working with kids.
mm, mm. So actually, our Earth, the future of the Earth has been in the hands of young generation. Then,
Yes.
okay. So we got confirmation from the lady of the Earth from New Mexico. Okay. So we have to listen more about our kids, our children, when they're asking about environmental issue. So we need to be educated ourselves better because we have to be ready to answer. Okay, to answer them because according to Ely, I mean uh, nowadays they tend to be much smarter and get more curiosity. So we should we should be able to answer them. Okay, otherwise we just can't convince them to go along with our advocacy. Okay, that's good lesson.
Exactly.
That's good indeed. And also, I'm wondering about your bio. That's one question. If there is any rule you would like to break, why you chose to break the law of physics? I mean gravity.
For me, when I heard that law, I was like, well, for me, I would love to do the law of gravity
Mm,
because if you think about it, especially right now in the holidays, when you
mm,
put up the lights, wouldn't it be nice to just like push a button, lose the law of gravity, so you can go up there, not go in any ladder, and
mm,
put your lights on. But
mm,
also, it would be really fun to be at home and do like the little spin arounds like the astronauts do and just have a good time.
mm. Right. And also, I would love you to stress on your advocacy that you carry with you in Miss Earth USA this time. Okay. So, what kind of advocacy that you actually really passionate about?
My advocacy is toxins in our soil.
Mm,
That is very, very important because we need to start making changes there so we can help everything else when it comes to the advocacies, such as air pollution, um, plastic reduction, things like that, that we can start helping.
right. Okay. If someone listening now our program just now, and they're pretty new to environmental problem. Okay, so and when they listen to you and they would love to get along and follow your suit, might you explain methodically, okay, how they should help the earth according to your advocacy?
Of course. First is that we need to talk to our Congress and legislators about movements and laws that they can do to protect the people who are harvesting. That's very important. Another thing is removing the toxins from your own home,
Mm,
plastics, um, even your car. Those emissions, the CO2 emissions go down. So if you
mm,
can reduce the amount of cars, because if I say don't use your cars at all, it's gonna be harder for people. But even if
mm,
you lessen the CO2 emissions by using you less your car or even car riding with somebody else, things like that can make a really big change. Another thing they can do is reduce their water usage because by reducing it, we're gonna reduce the amount of water that we need to clean so we can give to people. Because by cleaning water, we're getting rid of a lot of things too.
mm,
They can help, such as minerals, they can help our soils.
mm, mm. Right. So some fan would get some idea, okay? Where should we start with, okay? If we love her advocacy, okay? Um, right. So actually, she touched on some legislation as well. So would you agree that we need to enact or actually draft more bill which concerning about environmentalism more more than what we have at the moment?
Yes. It's very important for us to do those changes. And you can write in a little letter or even an email. Remember, every little voice can be expanded with us as a community.
Mm, right, right. Wow. And also, there's a lot of things. This okay. I wonder. I think actually we should progress faster. Okay, in terms of raising awareness of environmental problem nowadays. What do you think is the main downside which obstruct or deter the most population of the world to aware about the environmental problem actually happen in the world?
Mhm. Yes, as I said before, what the people that need to help the most is low income or the one that the 1% less.
Mm,
We're the richest people are 1%.
mm,
Everybody else is under that 1%. That is
Mm,
why it's important for us to take care of each other
mm,
and help each other. Because I know a lot of people are like, I don't want to help them. Like they can get help themselves. That's the
mm,
wrong mentality. We need
mm,
to put ourselves in their position and help them.
mm,
Because at the end, in the future, they might even help us. That is why
mm,
it's important to bring all positivity all around.
mm. So it's quite hard indeed because only 1% which reached, but they got a actually majority of power,
Mhm.
okay, of spending, okay, but they got very least awareness of the
Yeah,
real problem.
yeah.
Uh-huh. So it's very sort of socio-economic problem. I
Mhm.
mean, um, okay, so what about if I say, what kind of idea that you're going to convince the rich to contribute more to the earth or to the society to compensate or to help the poor? Okay, because the poor actually realize um, the complication. I mean, the complication according to environmental problem, but they don't have enough power to spend or to protect themselves. So we just think different way. How should how can we get the money out of the rich pocket to spend for the poor? I mean, or actually not spend for the poor, to contribute, okay, to the society in general, like a kind gesture.
For me, it's very important to educate them as well because a lot of people think they're really very educated. They are, but they might not be educated on the world problems that people are facing. That is why it's important for us to educate them, but also through me doing research, I was able to get some of their money so I can help my bigger community
Mm,
to be able to get more scientists in this field. Because at
mm,
the end, we are scientists. We're the first forerunner, like we're the first ones to be in line to help the world. That is why it's important for us to nurture those people. And
mm,
we're able to get the money to doing research through them, the 1%, so they can see like, okay, like if she helps the world this way, they can also help me. And it's kind of collaboration type of deal.
right. So I think still, okay, not all or not many the rich would do something without return, because they I think they probably growing up out of capitalism, okay, about their wealth. What kind of benefit would you convince them they would get in term or in return of their contributions
Well,
to the society in general?
well, number one, like you said before, better GPS, right? They're not gonna get lost anymore by
Mm,
removing that. Another
mm,
thing, their companies are gonna do a lot better
mm,
by putting that sustainability because they're not gonna be wasting that much money on plastics anymore,
mm,
and they're gonna be using reusable items.
mm,
Another thing, fast fashion.
mm,
That is something they can change very easily,
mm,
especially those who have more money.
mm,
What they can do, they can go to thrift shops,
mm,
vintage, look for things that are already been used but are great items, such as this. I
mm,
got this in Uptown. It's a little thrift shop that we have here in the United States, which
mm.
is really nice. I love this little sweater, but it's also non-fast fashion.
Mm. Okay, right. So, mind you answer just a quick answer, okay, with a question from the fans. Hi, Chris. How are you? Thank you for watching. And also, hi, Ralph. Thank you indeed for coming down. Happy New Year to you as well, okay? Also, please give some proper, actually, not proper, I know, you're very smart. Just get give him some reply. Do you think sustainability affects our freedom? How can you convince people that sustainability is worth it?
Well, first of all, thank you for the question, Chris. Um, I do think that sustainability can affect our world, especially our freedom, because coming from an immigrant family, when we came here, we didn't have money, we didn't have resources, so we had to work in the fields.
Mm,
While working in the fields, I remember my mom would come back home with her hands bleeding, and there were sometimes there were maybe pus because all the contaminants. And seeing my family in that state, I felt that they were, I don't like to use the word, but I felt that they were using them as a slave for them
mm, mm,
instead of seeing them as human beings
mm,
who are
mm,
working hard to make their life better and their families have more resources that they had in the past.
mm,
That is why I do feel that if we don't take care of them, they're getting rid of our freedoms.
mm,
If there wasn't that many toxins in the soils and people took care of them, there wouldn't be this discussion, if that makes sense. Another
mm,
thing, what I will convince people is, of course, saying
mm,
if we help the world, we don't
mm,
have, remember, this is our home. We only have one home, and that's Earth. If we don't
mm,
protect it, there's nothing going to be for this next generation. They're
mm,
not going to see the beautiful world that it is.
mm,
They're going to be scared to go outside.
mm,
That is why it's important for us to do changes now so that our future and our future kids are able to live a good life and
mm,
have the same, have more resources that we do now, like my
mm.
family had.
Right. Okay. All right. So, anyway, I would love to know about if you're going to speak, like it's going to be like a very final in the Miss Earth USA competition, and you got the last hit. What kind of message that you going to give that to the committee that to make sure that you're going to win the crown?
I first I want to say thank you to everybody who pushed me to be there. Also, I will say thank you for putting a scientist, a geologist, in the forefront and giving me the crown
Mm,
because we need more scientists. We need
mm,
more people to not only hear the scientific world, but also hear of somebody who came from very humble beginnings and tell their story. That is why it's important for us to come together. And I want to say thank you to everybody who is here, who is helping me improve not only with my advocacy, but
mm,
also improve with my interview skills and things like that.
mm.
So thank
And
you guys.
and also all the fans through our program, you if you noticed, Ely mentioned very frequent about education, about her humble beginning, and you can see how big difference and how how impactful of the education would make for one life. Okay,
Yeah.
because her family came from hardship.
Mhm.
Okay, came from Mexico to settle down in US to chase American dream. Okay, they work really hard, and Ely now, she very well equipped. She got 2 degrees, and she speaks so intelligently. She know
Oh,
everything.
thank you.
So that's why Ely mentioned about education a lot. So
Mhm.
I think the best way that we would able we would be able to get out of difficulty in most of situation to get ourselves knowledgeable, to get
Yes.
ourselves educated. So I mean, if we could reduce weight gap, or government would like to absorb or give some more subsidy to the education system to to promote a lot of marginalized young generation to have more opportunity for higher education. So I think we will got a bigger army to counter all the environment problem in the future. Because we understand more, okay, according to Ely. And also Ely already set example because she very knowledgeable and she very smart. She got 2 degree, even though she came from a very um, very hard background, okay, when she was young. And also I really admire because she a scientist, and when she coming here, you will feel that it's actually closely correlated between scientific world and environmentalism. It's very close. Okay, so before she came, when you mentioned about beauty queen and scientists, it's just the whole new universe. It's just like another sphere. I mean, we are two sphere that can't be, overlapped. But when we got Ely, who actually is a scientist as well, and also a beauty queen. So I think her voice is very powerful because what she's speaking, what she convey, is all rational. I mean, very logical. Okay, everything. I mean, science. When you talk with scientists, they always come with finding. They will speak on finding empirical evidence. So the message that she convey will be more weight. Okay, so I think it's very good indeed, and also her presence in the pageant world, especially in research, empower indeed, empower the lady from other field, okay, especially from scientific field to join pageantry, beauty pageant. It can happen. It's possible. Okay, your voice will be very huge. A lot of people will listen to you, and I think it's going to your message. Can convince people very easily because what you're talking about is based on facts.
Yeah.
You see?
Yes.
Don't you agree? Don't you agree?
Yes.
Yes.
No,
Okay.
exactly. Beautifully said. Thank you, Co.
All right. Thank you. So I will quick go through some fans. Okay. I would love to say hi and Ely as well. Say hi to Hannah Rose. She from Switzerland. Okay, Hannah.
Oh, hi,
Happy New
Hannah.
Year, Hannah. Happy New Year.
Happy
And
New
also
Year.
Miss Noah Alhash. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
And Edgar Oliver. Okay. Hi. Thank you for coming. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
And Aaron from Indonesia. Okay. Happy New Year, Aaron. Thank you for always supporting me and my guests tonight with Ely. And God bless to us all. Okay. From Aaron. And okay. And definitely. Okay. You got compliment from Chris Wheeler, strong woman. Yes,
Yes.
he is. Definitely. Yes. And also, Chris, thank you for your answer.
No, thank
Your
you.
answer impressed him a lot. Okay, a great deal indeed. And Thai fans, คุณนวลจันทร์ทรงวาด Chef Nuan. She a very famous chef in Thailand. She said, "Oh, you're so beautiful. You're so beautiful." Okay, and
Thank you so
happy
much.
and Happy New Year. And also Kun Thanapon said that excellent. What a talk. A talk.
Thank
And also Kun Ranjan or Chef Non again. And she passed some separatory message to you. Happy New Year, me and Ely. I wish you got good health in a year to come. Okay,
Oh,
and wish you a happy New Year. All right, and also we come going to toward the end. What would you like to say to all the fans worldwide before you go in? What kind of reminder that you would love to send them, to trigger them, to be more aware of environmentalism?
first, I'd like to thank you all for inviting me. Thank you, Co, for inviting me to be part of this amazing interview. All the fans, thank you for being part of this. And I'm very excited to meet you all. I also want to say, being a scientist, I'm very honored to be part of the pageantry world because a lot of people have this misconception that pageantry is all about the glitz and the crown and the beautiful crowns. And that's great. But we're also very intellectual
Mm,
women who are
mm.
trying to fight for our Earth's health. So thank you so much for everybody. I really appreciate you.
Oh, thank you indeed. And another comment for my fans, Mama Elizabeth Go from Taiwan. She Filipino Chinese. She amazing. I mean, she complimented you. Okay,
Oh, thank you so
and
much.
and also thank you so much, Raf. Oh, thank you. I mean on the Crown 9, okay, for your message here. Great interview, Llyhanee, and great show as always, KP1 Worldwide. Thank you. And I wish you shouldn't miss any episode of mine, okay, Raf? Thank you indeed. And also, you know what, Eli? Actually, the peakest moment in our show have draw a lot of audience.
Oh,
How many
cool.
audience do you know that? Do you know?
No.
Almost 900.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, the peakest, okay, the peakest, the
Oh, that's
peakest, the
amazing.
peakest moments, has attract almost 900 live viewers to your program.
Wow.
But in general, it's about 500 plus, okay,
Oh,
and
wow.
minus. Okay, so lastly, indeed, I knew that you be loved by so many people in many regions according to your background, from California, from Texas, from Mexico, and you now represent New Mexico as well. Okay, and now you've been in my program. You've been seen by a lot of people around the world. Would you mind to promote my program and
Of
my
course.
channel and definitely myself, my you?
Okay. So thank you again to KP1 Worldwide. This is an amazing interview. I had so much fun with the amazing interview co. Thank you for everything. And thank you guys so much for having me here. I appreciate every single one of you. And let's make changes to this world.
Yes, and please follow my journey. Aside from Elite Journey in Miss Earth USA, you can follow my program at Facebook KP1 Worldwide, YouTube KP1 Worldwide, and IG Kopanasa. According to the banner running below. And also the last comment from Chris Willow. Thank you indeed, Chris. This was a great interview. Yes, it was. You showed that a lot of queen. You show that a queen has both beauty and brains. Oh, actually, she has both. I just brought what she had. But anyway, thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you indeed for your compliment. And also for the fans, please remind yourself to follow Ely. Okay. Her full name is Llyhanee Robles. Okay. And she is Miss New Mexico Earth 2022. She now is competing is Miss Earth USA 2022, which going to coronate on the 8th of January, okay, this month, within a week, okay? So excited, all right? So please, follow her advocacy at her IG, Miss New Mexico Earth, okay? Miss New Mexico Earth, again, the third time, Miss New Mexico Earth. Okay. So you you can see and you can follow any move of Ili and also her nice picture and definitely your advocacy and help her, okay, to promote the earth by follow and help her advocacy.
Thank you so
So
much.
this time I really enjoyable. It's very intellectual interview and also it's very emotional as well when I realized that how toxic and how detrimental that the scientific certification like NASA mission could cause to the earth, but somehow um, it has contributed the greater good for the humankind in the future as well. So we need to get everything in balance. So that's why we need to ourselves to be educated. Okay. So thank you indeed for tonight, all the fans, and see you then. Bye bye.
Bye.